Girl cries at her mother's grave and says, "Take me with you." Then something incredible happened. Little Sally sat on the cold windowsill of the orphanage, her forehead pressed against the glass. Outside, the wind played with the colorful autumn leaves, but she barely noticed. Her heart was heavy, so heavy that it almost hurt. Since her mother was gone, she felt like a stranger in the world. The other children laughed, played, and had each other, but for Sally, everything was gray. No smiles, no comforting arms, no gentle voice telling her that everything would be okay. Every night she whispered into her pillow, "Mama, come get me. I don't want to be here anymore." But silence was her only answer. And the other children, they mocked her. "Crybaby, your mom is never coming back." They laughed while she cried. Their words cut deeper than any knife, but the worst part was that a small part of her feared they were right. A desperate escape. One chilly autumn morning, an opportunity finally came. The caretakers took the children to the park, a short trip, a few hours of freedom. But Sally had only one goal. While the others played, she ran. Her small feet flew over the ground, her heart pounded. She knew exactly where she needed to go. No fear, no doubt, just the burning desire to be with her mother. When she reached her mother's grave, she collapsed to her knees. Her tiny hands clutched the cold stone, as if she could squeeze it hard enough to bring her mother back. Tears fell to the ground. "Mama, please take me with you. I can't do this without you." Her voice broke. Her entire body trembled with pain. Then, suddenly, she felt a gentle hand on her shoulder. Warm, comforting, like a whisper of familiarity. Sally gasped and slowly turned around. Sally's body froze as she felt the gentle touch on her shoulder. For a moment she barely dared to breathe. Then she slowly turned around and saw a woman standing before her. She had soft, kind features, and her dark eyes shone with deep compassion. A gentle smile played on her lips as she leaned slightly toward Sally. "Little one, why are you crying so much? Are you all alone?" Her voice was warm, almost like a distant memory of something Sally thought she had lost forever. Tears were still streaming down Sally's face as she whispered through her sobs, "My mama, she's gone, and I'm all alone." Her voice broke, but the woman sat down beside her and gently took her tiny, ice-cold hands in hers. "No one is ever truly alone, my dear," she said softly. Sally told her everything, about the orphanage, about the children who mocked her, about the nights she curled up under her blanket, wishing she could be in her mother's arms again. The woman listened intently, never interrupting even once. She gently stroked Sally's hair and nodded understandingly. The minutes passed, but Sally didn't even notice how time slipped away. For the first time in so long, she didn't feel invisible. She didn't feel alone. The woman remained by her side, as if she knew exactly how fragile this moment was. And as Sally finally took a deep breath, momentarily forgetting the pain in her chest, she had no idea that this encounter was about to change her life forever. The woman couldn't forget her encounter with Sally. That night, as she lay in bed, she could still feel the trembling little girl in her arms, the coldness of her tiny hands, and the fragile voice calling out for her mother. But then something strange happened. In her dream, her own son, the boy she had lost years ago, appeared before her. He stood bathed in a soft light, holding a piece of paper in his small hands, his big, sorrowful eyes gazing at her. "Mama, you have to go there," he whispered, holding out the note. On it was an address. She reached out to touch him, but before her fingers could meet his, he vanished, and she woke up, heart pounding, a mysterious sign. The same dream haunted her for several nights. Each time her son appeared holding the same note with the same address. She couldn't shake it off. Finally, she told her husband, "I can't explain why, but I know I have to go there," she said, determined. Her husband studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "Then let's find out what this means." Following the sign. Together they set out without knowing what to expect. When they finally arrived, a shiver ran down the woman's spine. Before them stood an old gray building, its tall windows looming over them, and a rusty gate creaking in the wind. Then she recognized it. It was the orphanage. The address from her dream had led her here. Her heart pounded faster, and without hesitation she pushed the door open. What she was about to see inside would change her life forever. With her heart pounding, the woman stepped through the large, creaking door of the orphanage. The air smelled of old wooden floors and cleaning supplies. Her eyes scanned the long, barren hallway until she finally found the orphanage director's office. With trembling fingers, she knocked. "How can I help you?" the director asked in a weary voice. The woman took a deep breath. I'm looking for a little girl. Her name is Sally." The director furrowed her brow for a moment, then gestured toward the courtyard. "She's outside." The woman turned around, and there she was. The little girl with the sorrowful eyes, sitting so lost on a bench, gazing up at the sky. For a moment the woman hesitated. Then she slowly walked toward Sally. The little girl lifted her head, their eyes met. And in that one moment, the woman knew. This was why her son had sent her that dream. "Sally, my love," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. Sally stared at her in confusion. Then, suddenly, recognition dawned on her face. Her lip quivered. "You're back?" she asked softly, as if she couldn't believe it. The woman knelt down, took Sally's tiny hands into her own, and said, "Yes, and I will never leave you alone again." A few weeks later, Sally stood before a new home. A house with warm light glowing in the windows, a garden full of flowers, and an open door that made her feel welcome. She turned around and looked at the woman and her husband. "Does this belong to me now?" she whispered. The woman nodded, her eyes glistening with tears. "Yes, Sally, this is your home now." For the first time in forever, Sally didn't feel alone anymore. As she held her new mother's hand, she knew that her wish had finally come true. Sally's story shows us that love sometimes finds us in the most unexpected ways. Even in our darkest moments, destiny can open a door. We just need the courage to step through it. Do you believe in fate? Let us know in the comments. Share this touching story with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another inspiring story. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.